Training Camp 2016. The year changes, the goal never does.
It's about winning the World Championship, it's part of our everyday fiber here in Green Bay.
But keeping these particular fibers together proves more and more difficult with the passage of time. And a difficult offseason of financial decisions awaits.
Everybody understands the situation that's coming up after the season, but we don't really think about it a whole lot. We don't talk about it a whole lot. I mean, it's just the nature of the game.
It's a business, so whatever happens, happens, but I don't think that's our main focus.
But like it or not, talk about it or not, it does put this season into sharp focus. Time is running out on this collection of stars. This Packer team is on the clock, creating urgency when the 2016 season begins. Training Camp 2016 begins now. How you doing, everybody, and thanks for joining us tonight. We welcome you to Training Camp 2016, which is already 3 days and 2 practices old. 2 practices that looked a little old if you watched any of the offseason practices during OTAs and minicamps, but that all changes. Tomorrow morning, the 8:15 a.m. practice on Ray Nitschke Field will feature the players in full pads for the first time since that playoff loss in Arizona. Now, the new collective bargaining agreement prohibits teams from using pads the first 3 days of camp. Tomorrow, day 4 for the Packers, and the players are well aware that change is coming.
Oh, it's going to be exciting. I mean, that's what you really look forward to. I mean, the shorts, it's cool, to get your feet under you, but now you're playing football. Now you get your pad, you get your real reads now, and your real technique going.
It's a big difference. You can get your run keys. You can be physical at attack. Receivers might be a little tempted to go across the middle with pads on. You never know, so it's going to be fun tomorrow.
I would say it's not that exciting for training camp necessarily. More exciting when you get to go against another team. There's only so much beating that I want to take from my own teammates and do the same. So it's fun when you can go hit someone else, hit another team.
All right, again, the first 2 practices have looked the same as the offseason, but that does not mean that there hasn't been any news these first few days. So to get us caught up on all of that, let's go to Dave Schrader, who joins us now live in the newsroom. Dave?
Well, Chris, the offseason obsession this year was on Eddie Lacy's weight after the running back was called out by head coach Mike McCarthy as the team scattered to the wind for the offseason. Lacy drifted towards P90X founder Tony Horton for help getting in shape, and now, entering a contract year, Lacy is ready to resume his role as a bell cow back in the Packers offense. After more than 1,400 total yards as a rookie and 1,500 in his second season, Lacy's production dipped below 1,000 total yards last year as his weight skyrocketed. Lacy's 4-year rookie deal carried a total value of only $3.4 million. For perspective, backup James Starks will cash in on $3 million this year alone, provided he makes the final 53-man roster. If Lacy wants to cash in on his slice of the pie, he needs to keep his weight in check and have a bounce-back year.
Last year wasn't that good for me, and I don't want that to happen this year. So, just go out, be in the best shape physically and mentally that I can be in, and go out there and contribute any way I can.
How often do you think about the comments that Coach made at the end of last season?
You can't think too much about it. It needed to be said, it was said, and you can either take it the right way or the wrong way. And I think I did a pretty good job of, taking it positively and, going and take care of what I had to.
Now this year, Aaron Rodgers cut dairy out of his diet altogether. Lacy says he has never been a big fan of cheese, so that has not been an area for him to cut back as he gets in shape. Also this year, look for the Packers secondary to vault towards elite level. They feel they have the talent to start earning a reputation, the type of reputation the Seahawks and Broncos have in their back ends. Veteran Sam Shields is only 28 years old, Morgan Burnett only 27. HaHa Clinton Dix is entering his 3rd season, and he's already posted 3 postseason interceptions to his name. Micah Hyde, Demarius Randall, and Quentin Rollins also have earned respect. Now it's time to go to the next level.
DB room, it's a young in age, but it's a lot of game experience as far as from the cornerbacks and safety. So I feel we're all one unit. We can all lead in our very own special way.
The players trust you to make certain plays or, take chances, and you do that, then, they'll let you do it. And, I think Dom, once again, he's done a great job of putting us in certain situations to make plays.
What are 2 things that fans don't know about you that they would be surprised to learn?
I'm a giant nerd. I love Japanese anime and the manga, which is Japanese comics.
And maybe not what people would expect coming from you when they see you on the field.
Oh no, I'm like the nerd that can beat you up. I love it. I'm like, yeah, I'm a dork. Say something about it.
Well, you go ahead and you call Mike a dork, and you do so at your own risk. Well, Aaron Rodgers, we know, is adverse to taking risks on the field, but the rewards last season were not what we, or he, quite frankly, have become accustomed to since becoming a starter in 2008. The reasons for his down year, many, including injured and ineffective receivers. So if this is in fact a bounce-back year, Caitlin Sharkey tells us that the two-time MVP has made sure he has plenty of spring in his step.
Chris, Aaron Rodgers is in his 12th season with the Green Bay Packers, and that could lead many to believe he ranks among some of the oldest current NFL quarterbacks. But at 32, Rodgers doesn't even make the top 10, and now he's focused on making changes that will keep him going for years to come.
Aaron's vibe and really his offseason participation and performance is looks to line up for a great year. I mean, he's in great shape. I would say this is the best shape I've seen him in.
2015 may not have gone like Aaron Rodgers planned. He completed just 60% of his passes, his lowest since 2008, and led an offense that ranked 23rd in the league, making everyone on that offense take a good hard look at that unit and themselves.
I mean, we have a standard we've set around here, and we all, myself included, came up short last year in those categories. So we got to get back to doing what we do best on offense and being consistent, and take some pressure off our defense.
However, a lackluster season may have been the spark that changed a lifestyle for the two-time MVP.
Well, I just wanted to build off some of the stuff with, with my diet and my flexibility. Those are important things. Being lactose intolerant, I made some changes to my diet and just tried to eat a little cleaner as well. And I think that's going to help me in the long run.
Reports back in June said Rodgers went from 230 to 218 pounds this offseason, similar to his weight when he first entered the league back in 2005.
I'm as light as I've been in a while, but my muscle mass is as strong as it's been when I've been 10 pounds heavier. That's kind of was the goal as I get older, was to continue to find ways to get my nutrition and my muscles where I need them to be, and I feel good about where I'm at.
And heading into camp, Rodgers feels good about the work he's put in, but his true endurance test starts now.
Conditioning is something that kind of grows throughout camp, but coming in, I'm probably physically in as good shape as I've been in a while. I think everybody's ready to go, and if you're not, it shows.
Welcome back, everybody. NFL training camps took on a dramatic new look when the latest collective bargaining agreement took effect back in 2011. The number of practices in pads, all reduced. Player safety has taken center stage to the point where it is now very rare to see live tackling in practice, at least here in Green Bay. Now that has led to all kinds of creative tackling drills and has opened the door to technology, and it is pretty safe to assume that the welcome mat is out in Green Bay. Take a look.
Hey, baby. Yeah.
Can you imagine one of the bike kids trying to give this guy a ride to and from practice? Well, next summer, the mobile virtual player could be a player in Packers training camp.
I think it's very appealing. I think the feedback's been very positive.
This technology was developed at Dartmouth University for their football team last year. Now, the purpose was to cut down on player-to-player contact in practice. Does that sound familiar? It didn't take long for the player safety-conscious NFL to catch on. The Steelers used the MVPs during their offseason program, and it sounds like they will continue to use them.
The applications we're quickly finding are really endless. It never gets tired. It runs at an appropriate football speed. All the position groups are getting an opportunity to use it. And, it's funny, you just really put it on the field and watch the guys, and they show you the applications. They say, hey, get it to do this. It's been fun over the last several days watching that grow.
The Ravens and Rams have reportedly placed orders as well, and it sure sounds like it's a fit for the Packers. Mike McCarthy has never been shy about embracing new and safer training methods. And the MVPs might be more helpful than the donuts.
It's funny to see those big things just rolling around the field and you see somebody dive at it. It's hilarious, especially when you're far away. Like, you're just looking like, what is this? But it's clear it's effective. I think it'll be interesting to see. I'm curious. I wouldn't mind trying it out myself.
If you're actually tackling a pad that's moving, I think that'll be the most realistic that you can get. Unless you're tackling another human being. But I think we'll see if they bring them here.
That's really what the off seasons are for, and we like to think we look at pretty much everything, and but it's got to fit. Sometimes it's a benefit of being the second guy that buys it instead of the first guy. So, and that's probably the case there.
All right, well, according to the company that makes these MVPs, there are 8 college programs using the robot tackling dummies, including Michigan State, Minnesota, and the Big Ten. But the applications go beyond football. USA Rugby using the robots to train both the men's and women's sevens team. Rugby sevens will be an Olympic sport for the first time in Rio, and both U.S. teams will be competing in Brazil.
But, man, they are a different offense without Jordy Nelson. They're a different offense when their coaching staff maybe doesn't figure out ways to get their other guys open, etc.
I spent a lot of time thinking about the 2015 season and just where things went wrong and just maybe how injured Aaron Rodgers might have been. We talked about it a lot over the weeks on this show. He obviously ends up having a knee surgery a couple of days after the season. Not a major one, but anything that could affect his throwing, Mark, anything that could impact the way he's able to move, while maybe not visual, if it's in the back of his mind, certainly could contribute. Does he need a bounce back year? Maybe not, but what he needs is a healthy Jordy Nelson, an in-shape Eddie Lacy, and an offensive line that plays 17 out of the 18 games.
There was dysfunction at every position.
And maybe
on that
the
offense.
same play caller.
Beginning with the play calling fiasco, Rodgers was off, but even if he's close to his average, those numbers are still 100 passer rating for the season. Offensive line was just banged up and a mess. Eddie, you mentioned, and the receivers. All of that has to be a little more in sync, and if it is, I think it'll be much more like maybe 2011.
These people don't have anything to do. They're away from everything. They don't have any automobiles. They don't have any friends down here. And the only friend they have is each other. And I have them out here, and we can work them 3 times a day if we want to.
3 times a day. That's former Packers head coach Forrest Gregg, and look at that video. That is not Ray Nitschke Field in Green Bay. Back in 1987, the Packers spent 2 weeks of training camp in Oconomowoc. That guy in the 4 jersey isn't who you think, obviously. That is Chuck Fusina. Brett Favre drafted 4 years later by the Falcons. Well, last year in week 2 of the regular season, a local product came home to start a game against his hometown team. Now, he didn't finish the season as the starter, and he's now on to another team. But as Caitlin Sharkey tells us tonight, he is doing everything he can to keep that dream alive.
Chris, as another NFL season begins, De Pere native Drew Nowak finds himself with his 3rd NFL team and plans to embrace the constant change heading into his 4th NFL training camp.
The biggest thing for me is I know what to expect.
From the Jaguars to the Seahawks and now the Kansas City Chiefs, Drew Nowak continues to roll with the punches.
I think it's just a new opportunity, a new team, new coaches, new guys. So far, they've welcomed me with open arms, which has been awesome. The guys on the team are great. The O-line is an awesome room to be around.
In 2015, Nowak started 7 games for Seattle before being replaced by Patrick Lewis and eventually released back in December. In May, he was picked up by Kansas City and is preparing for a new camp environment once again.
Adapting to your surroundings. Every team has a different type of philosophy, but in the end, it's show up, let's get to work, and let's get the job done. And that's kind of like my main focus. I'm a lunch pail guy, just come in and go to work.
Nowak put the offseason work in this summer at Synergy Sports in Green Bay, alongside former Packers lineman Evan Smith. Smith, who is entering his 9th NFL season, has changed his offseason workouts, using the resources at Synergy instead of training on his own.
I've had a pretty long career for someone in my position, coming from where I've been. So I just kind of take it year by year. But the biggest thing for me is just training to make sure that, that I'm ready and prepared to do the job they ask of me.
And although Smith has spent the last 2 seasons in Tampa, he still holds ties to Green Bay.
When I played here, my 3rd year here, I bought a house up here. My wife's from here, her family lives up here. And I've never really been a big city person. I grew up in a farm town, smaller town. I went to college in a smaller town, so big cities have never really been my deal.
Not only does his training in Green Bay help prepare him for another NFL training camp, it helps prepare others at different levels, including Nowak and NFL hopefuls.
He's had a lot of experience, so I get to learn a lot from him. And then Kyle, he's a young guy coming in, so he gets to kind of watch us and learn. And then, Aaron, the high school kid, he really gets to see kind of what it's all about.
It's awesome. Anytime you can get knowledge from older guys,
is a blessing, and you got to take advantage of it.
You know, I think the thing I was trying to show him is you have to work really hard, and then you also have to show up every day. You know, you can't kind of, you know, come in and say I don't feel it, or, you know, it's just I don't have it today. Even if you don't, you gotta somehow find a way to get it done.